So this video is just a response video to Izzy Kornblau's Synesthesia video that I watched, and usually I just watch her for EDS related content. My name is Ray Michelle. I am a BA in psych, and so psychology and the brain and how stimulation and the brain, interact has been a course of study for me. So I too have Ehlers Danlos, hypermobile type, and also have synesthesia. And so what I wanted to do was just kind of make a response video that talks about my experience and how it might differ, inspired by Izzy's video. So Izzy talked about spatial synesthesia, so things like manifesting in physical space. And what that would do is it would activate your occipital lobe, which is the visual cortex of the brain. So fMRI, which is otherwise known as an MRI machine, are used by scientists to look at areas of the brain when they do something on patients. And so what they'll do is they'll put a control group, average people, into an fMRI machine and have them do something. So, for example, think about something or listen to something. They'll expose them to some kind of stimulation, and then they'll have a test group that usually either shares a common trait, is on a kind of medication. In this case, it's synesthesia. What happens in the brain when people see things that manifest that aren't physically there? And so it turns out that there was actually a study already done on this. I'll throw it up on screen, in 2001 by Allerman, Rutten, et al. And they did basically what I mentioned. They put people into an fMRI machine. They measured the areas of the brain. They did people who did not have synesthesia, and they had a female subject who did have synesthesia. So it's important to notice that, one, sample size is important, and a sample size of 1 isn't always significant, but because of the rarity of synesthesia in the general population, test subjects for something like this may be smaller. But that the visual cortex in people that have visual types of synesthesia do activate, even though there is no stimulation present. So that's interesting. So why am I making this response if I'm just talking about science studies from 19 years ago? Well, one is it's an interest of mine, and two, so my synesthesia is actually pain related. I have a couple types. I have months to color, and I have pain. So when it comes to months to color, for example, December is a dark blue, and January is kind of a similar color but slightly lighter, and then February is kind of hit or miss, but then March it gets lighter blue, and then April is kind of this washed out color. May is where things start changing for me. May is a light green, June is dark green, August is orange, and September is red, and October is orange red, a very specific shade. November is kind of ice, kind of a tealy ice blue, and then back to December, we loop around again. So there's a spectrum of colors, but when we talk about pain, and we talk about Ehlers-Danlos and pain, when we talk about Ehlers-Danlos and pain, typically, you might be asked by a medical professional, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst pain you've ever experienced in your life, how bad is your pain today? And my brain doesn't work that way. It's completely useless for me. It just doesn't work. But if I tell you that today is a, green-blue day, to you, the viewer, that probably makes no sense. To me, and I'll put it on screen, to me, that's the lower end of the pain threshold. So for me, it goes white, which is no pain, and that never happens, unfortunately. It goes white, green, blue, purple is the middle, and then red, orange, and then black. And black is like the worst pain ever. Like I never really get to that area too, right? Really for me, like purple, the middle, is when pain is so bad that it preoccupies my mind. It's so present that I'm not able to, think or do things in my daily life without hurting. And I'm not talking, I move my arm and there's a little bit of pain. I'm talking like there's so much pain there's so much pain that it is at the forefront of my mind. Whatever I'm trying to do is in the background, if that makes sense. I'm not a very spatial person, but the pain is the most pressing thing going on is purple. And so, do I hit orange? Do I hit red? Not really. I mean, at that point, I'm probably, screaming in pain. So that is like how my brain links colors to pain, from white at the low end, purple in the middle, black at the end. You got some orange, some red towards here, and you've got, blue, purple. It's a spectrum. And so that spectrum might be spatial, but I'm not a very spatial person. The other thing that I have is sometimes sound. Sometimes. So I'm very good at picking up notes, but not labeling them really. But when it comes to composing music, being able to pick out which notes are higher or lower based on a color is very helpful. I'm just playing with my keyboard. It's not making any sound. But if you imagine, a low note, or maybe I'll play a low note here. A low note is like a blue, and a higher note is kind of a lighter color, like a yellow. And so, for me, when I am listening, the colors repeat. You'll notice the same colors repeat, but the order doesn't. So high notes are like yellow, low notes are blue. Whereas on the pain scale, low was a light color, low was white, and it was a very dark color at the other end. So the colors, at least for me, in terms of synesthesic experiences, sometimes the colors themselves repeat, but the order is never the same. So that's kind of how I experience synesthesia. I did a brief look to see if synesthesia and Ehlers Danlos are comorbid, and comorbid is just like speak for they occur together. So, for example, gender variance and Ehlers Danlos do. ADHD and Ehlers Danlos have a potential link. Depression, anxiety, and Ehlers Danlos have a very positive link. Synesthesia, I couldn't find anything. So I'm going to keep my eyes out. This might be a topic for a future vlog. I don't usually do this. I usually do Final Fantasy XIV content, but couldn't pass up doing this, so thanks.